Facilitators, woohoo! Welcome back. Let's wait a little bit. In the meantime, I am gonna bring out my screen. Okay. All right. So here we are on week 8. Unbelievably fast, especially considering that we're already in December and who knows where this year went. So today, I'm waiting for this to load. We're going to be talking about advertising online with a big emphasis on social media, which we know is a subject that you guys have been very interested about. So we expect a lot of questions. Always know that we're monitoring the chat and you can always be asking your questions over there. And if we don't have time to answer all of those questions, we will do our best to answer them after the class or on the mentor hours. Just remember that this session is recorded, not the breakout sessions. That is your space to share everything that you need. And please remember to rename yourself. Just click in participants, and next to your name, you will have the option to rename and put your cohort number in the front. Now we want to appreciate our funders. I'm not gonna name them all, but these are all the people that make this possible. And here we have our cohort facilitators. We won't have Caroline with us today, but you guys are well taken care of by Zach. And then we have all of our mentors that are professionals in digital marketing and that can help you out with all the blanks in between. Now, this program, this specific program is funded by the EDA, and we just want to acknowledge that even though it is free, it really isn't. It has a cost, but we have funders that have been helping with that, and we are very excited to be funded by an important administration, and that you guys are the recipients of all of these benefits, not only for the accelerator itself, but also for the upcoming program, which is Raindrops, that we will be talking about coming up. I want to thank all of our in-kind sponsors, Ruby Porter, Muse Marketing, and BNU Creative. I do want to clarify something with the legal aspect. We were going to have a lawyer come in and talk to you about a few things. And I had shared with you a link to make an appointment because they were offering an hour of consultations. Unexpectedly, the person can, if everybody can please mute themselves. The lawyer that was going to be working with us had to leave that firm. And so we're waiting for him to relocate himself, but we're also looking for other alternatives because we know how important it is to have that legal knowledge. So hang in there. Thank you for being patient about it. We will figure an alternative out, and that's that. Now, sometimes I forget that this slide has all of these clicks I need to do. We are on week 8, so we're gonna be seeing ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and actually a lot more other social media. It's just a little long to write it all over there, but yes, I think this is gonna be awesome. I just wanna clarify your pitch video. Just use Caitlin's template, record it, it's just 60 to 90 seconds, send it to Anna, and submit it by December 3rd, that is this Friday, by the end of day. Let me know if you guys have any issues with the deadline. If too many of you do, maybe we could extend it till Sunday so you have the weekend to do it. We'll see. But we need you to express it so that we can accommodate that. But don't overdo it, and don't ask me for like next week or the week before graduation or whatever, okay? Now, the details. You just need to say what the problem is a brief description of your products and services. Why is your business the right one to solve that problem? And what is your call to action? That is all. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can do it with your phone. Anna found the video that I submitted last year, so you will be getting that on an email and you can use that as a reference. But just know that you don't have to do anything super fancy, like just this, me being here and talking like that, that is enough. Like what we're looking for is your pitch itself. We're not looking to see what your technological capabilities are or how good your light is or anything like that. It's just the content, okay? So with that, the 10 first people that submit are going to get the book from Leonard, who is going to be our keynote speaker. And now we go to today's agenda. So we're gonna have our presentation, and then we're gonna have the breakout session. And after that, we just come back, talk about next steps, a little bit more information about next week, and of course, answering any questions that you guys may have. With that, I want to welcome back Rachel McMahon, who is the CEO specialist at Angle Media. And with that, that's it. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it's really great to be back. Good morning, everyone. As Ani mentioned, I am Rachel. I'm the SEO specialist at Anvil, but I also have several years of experience working on the paid and social side of things. So to get started, I will share my screen. So I can grab this presentation and get it started. But basically what we are going to really cover today is advertising online, really focusing on social media, particularly just because that has been the topic of interest for so many of you. And we'll talk about how to really set yourselves up for success. I'll go through the actual different types of ads, how to go about them in a way that will help you accomplish your goals. And so really the main goal of this isn't to try and have you all publish ads on every single platform. It's really to help you figure out which platform is going to be the best for you, giving you the tools to achieve that type of specificity, and just really set you all up for success. So if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in the chat. I'm always happy to answer questions, go back, clarify, things like that. So we'll start off with how to really set yourselves up for success. You really have to work through some of these steps before you go into these social platforms, before you start picking out imagery, before you start writing the headlines for your ads. You really have to start with figuring out who your target audience is, because when you're advertising online, obviously it would be nice if you could just reach every single person that is present on social media, but not everybody is going to be a customer of yours. So the goal is to really target those people who are most likely going to be customers of your business. That's the best way for you to go about advertising online, because it's going to ensure that not only your budgets are going to be spent in the best possible way, but it's a way to ensure that you're going to see a return from that investment. So kind of tying this back to a few weeks ago, the best way to really understand who your target audience is using Google Analytics. So I'll go through some really quick tips on where to acquire this information and then what you're going to do with it. But basically, Google Analytics is going to help us understand when users are coming to our website, where they're coming from, what device they're on, generally speaking, what their interests are, what our core demographics look like, and then most importantly, what social platforms they're already coming from. So first off, we'll start with users by time of day. This is a really quick and easy data point to grab from Google Analytics. Basically, what happens is when you first sign in to your Google Analytics account, and I should specify this is specifically for Universal Analytics. you have that dashboard of all of these different data points to give you a quick snapshot of how things are trending. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see this box that says users by time of day. And if you look at this screenshot to the left, the darker blue means that you have more people coming to your site. So why would this be important? Why would this be of use to you in terms of your advertising? Well, with each of these ad platforms, you'll see there's a way for you to actually control the time frame in which your ads will display. So you could say, I want my ads to run from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. just based on the screenshot that we see to the left, or depending on what you're seeing on your Google Analytics, you can adjust your ad schedule so that way it's more likely that your active users are going to encounter or engage with your ad. So again, this is a really great way to understand what your ad schedule should be. The next piece of data that's really important for advertising online is understanding where your users are coming from. And the reason that's important is you can do one of two things. You can either target the city with the highest number of users. So if you're really popular, if you have a large audience within a certain location, you can set up your ads to target that specific area. Or if you have a location where you're not seeing as much traction, if you're really trying to expand within a certain area, you can also target that location as well to really grow your brand awareness. And so I have two columns here. One is how to find this information from Universal Analytics. On the right-hand side, it's how to find this information in GA4. So that way you are able to extract where your users are actually coming from. Next, we have device. This is also incredibly important. Obviously, these days, most people are becoming more and more active on their mobile devices, but depending on your website setup, depending on the industry that you're in, and even depending on who your audience is in terms of age range, that will really determine what devices your users are most frequently coming to your website from. So another reason this is really important is it can also help you understand which social platforms would be best for your brand, for your company. And it's also a way to make sure that your website is set up for success as well. So if more users are coming from their mobile devices, we'll see in a moment, maybe that would be a good indication that Instagram might be a good option for you, or even if they're coming on to the site from their desktop, that could kind of pinpoint some different social platforms that would be most beneficial for your ads. So we'll get into a little bit more specifics in just a moment, but understanding device is also really important. So again, left-hand side is some instructions on how to acquire that information from Universal Analytics, and the right-hand side is how to acquire that information from GA4. Demographics and interests. So this is becoming a kind of tricky spot with Google Analytics because I'm sure you all have heard the third-party cookies, privacy issues, things like that. But for the moment, we do still have access to this information. So first of all, in terms of demographics, that is really helpful because understanding age ranges, gender data, that can really help you pinpoint who your ads should be targeting. And in terms of age range, different age ranges are going to gravitate more towards different social platforms. So that could also help you pinpoint maybe which social platform would be best to publish and run ads on. And then in terms of interests, this could also be useful because you could understand in terms of, food dining that we see on the left-hand side, which social platform really supports and, connects with users who are interested in this type of topic. That could help you pinpoint which social platform you might want to go to, but it could also help you maybe set up your ad. So maybe finding some imagery that kind of connects with these personal interests or different areas of interest that your users are kind of showing interest in. So it could be a really great way to both get a different understanding of maybe, again, which social platforms might be best, or even how you should set up your ads to really support those interests and connect with those interests. Because we all know social media at the very basic level is for socializing, is for more of a interest gaining platforms. So just another thing to keep in mind to help you kind of pinpoint which direction you should go.
Rachel, one question.
Yeah, sure.
With somebody that doesn't have that much traffic on their site, is there anywhere they could find this information for similar businesses?
Sure. So typically, if you could go by, if you are active on any of these social platforms, you can get a gist of, how users are engaging with just your organic posts, your unpaid posts. Or it could just be, you'll see in a moment, you can actually just do some kind of general research about what you think your target audience is, and then whoever that target audience is, based on what you think the age range is and what their kind of location is, things like that, you can then pinpoint what social platform you might want to go with. So if you're thinking that most of the people that I engage with, most of the people that are customers of mine are 20 to 25 years old, you can then do some research and see what social platforms are those people really using these days, how do they like to acquire their information, things like that. You can do some more general research to give yourselves a little bit more guidance there.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course, yeah, and then please feel free to, I'll be happy to answer as many questions as I can. And then kind of the last piece of information that's really helpful is to understand where your traffic is coming from in terms of social platforms. So this will give you an understanding of where your users are already active without any ads running. So then you can really ramp up those efforts and launch an ad on some of these social platforms to really help you accomplish whatever your business goals are. So again, left-hand side is to acquire this information from Universal Analytics. And then on the right-hand side, you can acquire this information from GA4. But again, this is another way to really pinpoint some specific areas where you might want to launch your ads. The general goal isn't to look at the social networks and be like, okay, I need to launch an ad on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. That's not the goal at all. The goal is to figure out which individual platforms, what types of ads are going to really help accomplish my overall business goals. So those are kind of the main strategies to acquire some very helpful information to help guide you in terms of creating your ad and, again, helping you whatever your business goals are in accomplishing those. So after you have determined who your target audience is, who you are advertising to, the next possibly more important step is to really understand what the ultimate goal of your ads are. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish from running these ads? And the reason this is so important is because each social media platform, and even the individual types of ads you can run on the platforms, all cater to different business and advertising objectives. So what you'll see here in the bulleted list, these are kind of the most common objectives that you'll see in online advertising. The ones highlighted in blue are the most common, the ones that I've really seen on a day-to-day basis from most of my clients that I've worked with and most business owners that I've worked with. But this just gives you an idea of what you can how you can set up your ads to really accomplish whatever goals you have. So if you're trying to really just introduce your brand and get people to really strengthen their awareness of your business products, that could be a brand awareness ad. If you're trying to drive people to your website, we can really help set up your ads to get people to click and come to your website. If you're trying to get people to fill out a form, we can, again, set up the messaging, set up the ad itself to help gather that information from users, get them to fill out a form or complete some sort of action. And if you're an e-commerce type of business where you're selling products, obviously, most of the time, your goal is to have people actually purchase products. So again, all of the different ads that I will go through cater to these different objectives, and this will help you, again, just further pinpoint which would be the best for you based on the types of assets you have, imagery, videos, things like that. Again, who your target audience is, and then what your ultimate goal is, what you're really hoping to accomplish from running these ads. And then I just wanted to call this platform out because, as I just mentioned, there is a lot of the social media platforms that you'll see require some sort of image or video. And if you don't have a graphic designer, if you don't have somebody that really knows design, that could be kind of an obstacle for you. But Canva is a really excellent option. There's a free account that you can explore. And basically, they have custom templates for each of the social media ads. You'll see in the screenshot, we have Instagram posts, Facebook posts, stories, TikTok videos, and there's Pinterest. Every single social platform has a custom already set up template for you in Canva. Basically, you just have to drag and drop. You can pick from already designed templates, and you just have to adjust the text that's in them. So, and another reason this is really helpful is you don't have to constantly remember the file sizes, file types, how big is a Facebook post, how big is a LinkedIn post. This is already set up for you in Canva. Again, you just have to worry about the text, and you can fine tune some of the design features. So it's really a really easy way to acquire some very high quality and engaging content for your ads. And we actually use this at Anvil for some of our social posts as well. So even some agencies really rely on Canva. It's a good tool to leverage. Perfect. So now that we've understood how to get a sense of who your target audience is and what your ultimate goals are for your different ads that you are aiming to run, now I'll go through some of the individual ad types. And I'll even step through how to set up some of the ads as well. So that way we can set you all up for success and give you a little bit of confidence going into some of these different ad platforms and even creating the ads themselves. So I'll start with Facebook. Facebook, as you saw in the Google Analytics section, Facebook is still one of the most popular, if not the most popular social media platform out there. And the main benefit with Facebook ads is that you don't have to spend a ton of money in order to see a lot of return on your investment. So the first type of ad, probably the most popular ad on Facebook, is just a photo ad. You can see in the screenshot to the right, it basically just uses a single image. There's a short sentence that goes along with it and a call to action. So in this case, in the screenshot, the call to action would be learn more. A Facebook photo ad is really great if you are just trying to showcase a product, you're trying to showcase a service, and it's a really great option for those who might be a little hesitant to start advertising online. It's a really great way to introduce yourself into advertising online. So if you're a beginner and you're a little bit hesitant, this would probably be the best option for you because there's not a whole lot that goes into it. And it's really simple to set up. In terms of photo ads, with Facebook, pretty much across the board, less text is more. They will actually reject your ad if you have too much text, and even the image itself, if you try to overlay text within the image, that can sometimes cause your ads to get rejected as well. So make sure that you just have one image and try to aim for the less is more in terms of the amount of text to use. And you'll see, oh, yep.
For service business, what's the best way to do photo ads? Like, should they just be pictures of them?
Right.
Have any insights over that?
Yeah, sure. So depending on what your service is, what I've found is the most successful is trying to have a picture of you engaging in whatever that service is. So I've had roofing clients in the past who we've thrown a picture of them either the new roof or them actually on the roof and installing the product. I've had dentists where it's a picture of the dentist or their waiting room services, things like that. So basically what you want to do is have a single focal point. So that kind of ties into the next bullet point. You want to give people something to focus on. So in this case, if they're in the Audi example, if there were 10 cars parked there, you wouldn't really have one car that you want to focus on. Whereas for service-based brands, if you had a picture of 10 people and it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to somebody who looks at the image once, they really aren't sure what they're supposed to be looking at, that won't be too successful as a Facebook ad. So that's where if you have a service-based business, try to use a picture where there's maybe one person engaging with a customer or demonstrating the service, something like that. So another tip for success is making sure that you're consistent if you are running multiple photo ads. So if you have 3 to 4 different ads advertising your different services or different products, you want to make sure there's generally a consistent theme. If a user were to combine and look at all of the ads side by side, it would tie together and make for a visually consistent presence. So if in terms of the Audi example, if for visual consistency, you can see they use they're outdoors. There's just the one car parked to the side. So maybe they want to have the other photo ads be outside, one car parked to the side, things like that. So making sure there's a consistent theme across your different ads. And then the best way to be successful is to try and use as high resolution imagery as possible, because if you have something blurry, if you have something that's more low quality, if the image is dark, users aren't going to want to engage with that ad. They'll probably just scroll right past it and ignore it. So really try and focus on high resolution imagery. And again, that's where Canva is really, really helpful. So if you are trying to, again, strengthen your brand awareness amongst the audience on Facebook, if you're trying to just reach people and have them engage with your content on Facebook, if you're trying to have them click on the ad and go to your website, or go to your website and then fill out a form, or even just purchase something, this is a perfect option for you, based on what the objectives are and how you can set yourself up for success. So again, if you're a beginner, if you're a little hesitant to start advertising online, this is probably where I would recommend that you start.
Rachel, and now I will make sure to ask, there are a few questions that are too specific, so I'm going to leave those to the end. Okay. But what are your thoughts about using stock photography?
So I understand that photography and having imagery, especially high quality imagery, can be a little bit tricky. But these days, smartphones take incredible photos. So basically, to answer the question, if you can, I would really try to stay away from stock photography, because stock photography doesn't really capture the attention of people as much as personal unique photography. So if you can, try to use your own images, because that will really help attract more people and have a stronger connection with your audience. But I mean, stock photography is a great kind of fallback if you don't have that type of imagery. So don't be afraid. If you don't have the images, you can absolutely use stock photography, but it is better to just use your own unique content and photos. Awesome. So the next type of ad is a video ad, and this is pretty self-explanatory, but basically instead of a photo, you have a short video snippet with your ad. And the good thing about these types of ads is they can also appear on Instagram as well. So If you are really trying to tell a story, if you want to demonstrate your products, you want to demonstrate your services, or you can even share actual customer experiences. You can share testimonials. You can get, publish an interview about how people have benefited from your products or services. Those would all be great uses of Facebook video ads. And so for the ads themselves, there are durations. You could do a 5-second video all the way up to a 10-minute video, but really think about yourself. Would you really want to sit down, if you're watching TV, would you really want to watch a 10-minute commercial? Probably not. So that's where you want to try and find a sweet spot. 5 seconds is still pretty effective. We've found, and even I've found in my career, 15 to 30 seconds is kind of the sweet spot. 5 seconds is really short to get a really effective message out there, especially for those who are more new to online advertising. 30 seconds is a perfectly good chunk of time to get an effective ad message out there and really connect with your audience. So 15 to 30 seconds is the kind of time frame that I recommend. And it kind of works out well for you all because next week, as I saw on the agenda for you all, next week you're going to be learning about AR and VR. And so this is a perfect example of how that plays into online advertising. With the Sephora screenshot, they used augmented reality to virtually test out makeup. So it doesn't have to just be makeup. IKEA, they have, with their app, you can actually virtually test out their furniture within your living space. I know that car dealerships, different car manufacturers have, tested augmented realities to kind of virtually place their different cars in the environment that's right in front of you. So this is a really creative way to get customers to engage with your ad, but it's also a way for them to understand, is this product going to be for me? Is it, is it going to work out for me? So it's a really great way to get them more connected with your product. So Facebook video ads, again, brand awareness, getting your message and just brand story out there. You're still getting reach and engagement. Obviously, videos, users have to tap in order to watch it. So there's a little bit more engagement there. But it's also great if you're just trying to get people to watch the video, if you're trying to get users to fill out a form or complete an action. And then it's also really great for purchases just because, again, they're able to really see your product in action and get actual experience and a little bit more understanding about what your product or what your service is. Moving along to the Facebook collection ads. This is really for e-commerce brands. If you have a product that you are trying to sell, this type of ad might be of interest to you. So there are 3 types of collection ads that you can choose from. The first is instant storefront. So it's this first box on the left-hand side here. And basically this is if you want to showcase a catalog of products, you can do up to 4 or more. This is also a great way to get people to click on your product image and navigate to your website, your app, to then make a purchase. And then this is also a great option if you have the high quality product photography or even a video to highlight. This would be a good option for you because that's just how the ad is set up. You have a main ad, main image, a main video at the very top with then smaller thumbnails right beneath it. So basically, if you're trying to showcase a catalog of products, this would be the way to go for you. The middle screenshot is the instant lookbook. So this is showing your product in action. You can see there's a video that shows products, getting packed into the box. And then you also have customers wearing different products. So again, if you're trying to show your product in action, this might be a good option for you. And it's a really great way to also create a strong brand story with your ads as well. So in this case, the image or the brand story is, really focusing on locally sourced products. So that might be a good option for you. And then the last type of Facebook ad for a particularly collection ad would be the instant customer acquisition ad. So this is where you are really trying to get somebody to complete some sort of action. So you'll see in this particular ad, right in that, it might be a little hard to see, but you'll see sign up to learn more. It's right there in the text. So if you want people to sign up, subscribe, fill out a form, this would be the best option for you. This again requires some high quality imagery or videos that show off your product. So again, utilize Canva, take photos with your smartphones to really beef up your Facebook ads. So these would really be great. You can use them for brand awareness, but really what they're very successful at is getting those conversions, getting people to purchase your product. So really taking some sort of action that you are hoping or that you're wanting your customers to take. And then Facebook also has carousel ad types, which is just a scrolling type of ad. This can appear within just Facebook itself. You can show these in Instagram. I'll get into some specifics on how this would look on Instagram in just a moment, but then it will also appear in Facebook Messenger and even the Audience Network. So this is a great option if you're trying to showcase multiple products. You can actually use up to 10 images or videos, and users just scroll right through the carousel to look at all of the pieces of content you have there. So you can give users or your customers more options. You can showcase multiple products, or you can even just highlight features of a single product. So if you just want to really drive sales of one product, you can use each carousel image to highlight a different feature or a different benefit. Same thing with a service as well. If you have a service, you could really use the carousel ads to explain a process, step-by-step instructions, maybe tell a story and how it kind of relates to your brand and why then customers would want to engage with your brand. You can even use it to give a tour. I've seen Airbnb do this. The example on the right-hand side is, different available properties, but you can also use it as a way to give a tour if you have, hotels, your rental properties, things like that. So as I mentioned, you can showcase up to 10 images or videos, and each of those can have its own dedicated link. So when a user clicks on each of the 10 images or videos, they can each go to a different spot on your website. So it's a really great way to make sure that you're broadcasting either, a group of products or different features, but then you're sending users to the most appropriate spot on your website. And then with the carousel ads, you can either manually control the order of the images, or Facebook will actually optimize the order for you based on the performance data that they acquire. So this is a good way to kind of, take a hands-off approach. You can let Facebook optimize the order of the images to really set yourselves up for success. So in terms of objectives, you can, again, get your brand name out there, really strengthen brand awareness with your users. This is a really great way to not only reach your users, but to drive engagement. Users are having to scroll through the images, so you're already getting engagement from them. And then if they click on the ads, obviously they're going to your website to either fill out a form, call you, or even purchase a product. So how do you actually create the Facebook ads? So the first thing that I did want to mention about any of these social platforms and advertising on these social platforms is you don't have to have a tremendous following on any of these platforms. Basically, all you need to do is set up, a business page and, create your ads and, run those ads on each platform. So you don't need to have, a certain number of followers. You don't need to have certain number of likes or things like that. You can really just, all you need to do is create a business page. So once you create your Facebook business page and you log in, you basically access the ads manager to not only monitor current and active ads, but this is where you can create new ads. So basically you would just click on this green create button, and then what Facebook allows you to do is pick your objective, your targeting options. You can set your budget, pick the actual type of ad you're going to run, and then publish it. So the one thing about Facebook is when you publish a brand new ad, Facebook puts it into what they call a learning phase. This could just take 1 to 2 days, but basically it's just making sure that your ad adheres to all of their requirements. So you're not trying to sell, you're not trying to sell guns on Facebook, things like that. It's just making sure that you are adhering to all of their criteria, but it's also trying to understand how they can set you up for success as well. So Facebook is also going to try and learn where, exactly when, how they should really get your ad out there. So just as a little nugget of information, the first 1 to 2 days is Facebook putting your ad into a learning phase. So again, it's just to make sure it adheres to all the requirements and that they are learning about how the ad will be where the ad will be most successful. So when you are setting up the Facebook ad, the first piece of information you provide is what you're aiming to accomplish. So again, this kind of ties into the business or the advertising objectives that we listed previously. So based on whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can select the ultimate goal for your ad. The middle is where you narrow down your target audience. So you can specify the location. You can get really specific. You can, target a specific zip code, or you can be very broad. I do encourage you to try and be somewhat more specific than just Oregon, if you can, just because location targeting is one of the ways to really make sure your budget gets spent efficiently. Age as well. This is where kind of tying this back to the demographics information we acquire. This is where you can really specify the age range of who's going to see your ad, gender. You can also target interests, behaviors. So this is where you're really going to set yourself up for success. And again, it's just a way to really make sure that your ads are going to be shown to people who are most likely going to engage with the ad itself. The next box is where your ad should appear. So you can tell Facebook, hey, place this ad wherever you think will be best, or you can have manual control over where those ads appear. So this is where you can say, hey, only show my ad to people on Facebook, the Facebook app on their mobile device, or only show this ad to people who are on the desktop version of Facebook, things like that. And then on the very right-hand side, this is where you get a sense of how many people are going to potentially come into contact with your ad. So you'll see the potential reach. So that's an estimate of, again, how many people are going to really see your ad. And they'll also even give you an estimate of about how many link clicks you can expect to acquire from your ad as well. So this you can use to maybe fine tune some of your targeting settings. So for example, in the audience definition, if you're too broad, maybe you can come and adjust the location. Maybe you can adjust the age, gender to get a little bit more specific. So that way you're really engaging with the appropriate audience. So once you have all of those settings taken care of, you're good to go. You can then publish your ad. The thing to always keep in mind is that nothing is set in stone. So you don't have to get everything, exactly perfect the first time. This is something that we do as well on the agency side of things. We will set the ad up to what we think will be successful, but we are always going in, making changes, fine tuning the settings, targeting, things like that. So don't worry about being, completely perfect with your ad. You want to have a good start, but you can always fine tune all of these little settings, all of these targeting features and things like that. So another thing to keep in mind with your Facebook ads is that if you are trying to send people to your website, Facebook creates what they call pixels. And a pixel is essentially a piece of code that you place on your website. When users come from your Facebook ad to your website, the code fires to understand if your ad was effective. Did your ad do what you wanted it to? So this is in order to place the piece of code on your website, I highly, highly, highly recommend Google Tag Manager. It is a really easy way to both insert code and pause code and kind of control what code goes on your website without needing a developer, without having to understand code yourself. You basically just have to copy and paste and publish the tag and you're good to go. So here are the steps on the left-hand side of how to actually insert your Facebook pixel with Google Tag Manager. Basically, you create a custom HTML tag within Google Tag Manager, copy and paste the Facebook pixel code. This is given to you by Facebook, so you don't have to generate this code. You don't have to edit anything. You just have to copy and paste. And then you define what the trigger is. The trigger is what's going to cause the code to fire. So in this case, if you are sending people to a specific product page, you would obviously want the trigger to be whatever that product page is. So how you define that is by the trigger type page view, and then the trigger have it fire on the page URL. So whatever that product page is, or whatever ultimate page you are sending your users to. So once you have all of this configured, you just publish it, and this would help to insert your Facebook pixel code onto your website without having to go in, find the right spot, make sure the code, you don't mess anything up on the, on your website functionality, things like that. So I highly recommend that you, at least check out Google Tag Manager, because it does sound it can sound a little intimidating, but I promise it makes your life so much easier, especially if you really aren't familiar with coding and website development, things like that. So next we have Instagram. This kind of ties into Facebook because obviously you can have your Facebook ads also appear on Instagram, but Instagram also allows for you to publish both photo and video type ads. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you're seeing a lot of your users coming to your site on their mobile device, I would highly recommend checking out Instagram because users have to be on their mobile device in order to engage with the Instagram app. So that would probably be a good option for you. And Instagram these days is becoming really effective in selling products and selling services. So if you want to demonstrate a product or service, you want to highlight a product or service to sell, even highlight features, this would be a great option for you. So Instagram, I'm sure you can all, think back to the stereotype of Instagram, but this is where those high quality, compelling pieces of visual content really thrive. People are really looking for the high quality imagery, some really engaging video content, things like that. So again, really leverage Canva to help produce that type of content and really help, enhance your design, imagery, illustration, things like that. Again, you want to avoid a ton of overlaid text, really focus on the image or video itself. And Instagram has a ton of different call to action buttons with different messaging. So there's shop now, learn more, register, book now, things like that. So make sure you pick the one that really conveys what your ultimate goal is. So if it's a product purchase, shop now. If you want them to make an appointment, book now. If you want them to come to your site and maybe just read a piece of content, learn more, things like that. So Instagram ad types, both image and videos, are really great for several different main objectives: brand awareness, reach and engagement, lead generation, conversions, really great for purchases, just driving general traffic to your site, and even just earning video views as well. Another type of Instagram ad is a stories ad. So this is a full screen image or video that appears when users are actually viewing their stories. So the really benefit to the main benefit to stories ads is that they don't really come across as an ad. So it's a little bit more immersive. And because it doesn't come across as an ad, it really helps drive a lot more engagement. So again, if your users are really coming to your site on their mobile device, you're really trying to sell a product, or you're trying to convey a specific brand image or tell a story, this would be a good option for you. Try to use a design that doesn't stand out as an ad. You can see to the right, they really don't scream ad. It's just they're set up in a way that is going to engage with the user and even drive some sort of engagement. And again, less text if possible. You don't want to have users read a ton of information when they see an ad. That just means they're more likely to ignore it. So these are really good for driving engagement. But again, if you want to get your brand image out there, it's a great way to strengthen your brand awareness. If you're trying to get users to come to your site, fill out a form, purchase something, or even just come to your site in general, this might be a good option for you. This type, the carousel ads, this is specific to e-commerce brands, because this is where you're showcasing your collection. You can use it to tell a story, but most of the time carousel ads are for selling a product. So this allows for up to 10 slides. Again, each of those slides could send users to a different landing page depending on what the product is. And again, you really want to try to use higher quality, visually appealing imagery. So brightly lit, in focus product photos, and just visually appealing content. So these, while there are several objectives that these types of ads are, best support, these are really, really helpful for driving purchases and getting more engagement from your users. And then another type of ad that's really great for driving product purchases is Instagram collection ads. So this again is really strictly for e-commerce businesses trying to sell products. You have a main cover image at the very top. It could be an image actually or a video. And then at the very bottom, there's 3 smaller images as well. When they actually tap on the Learn More button, they get an instant experience page, which is just an in-app landing page for users to actually complete their purchase. So they don't have to go to your website. They don't have to take additional steps. They can actually just purchase something right then and there. So this is, again, if you are really trying to sell products, this is a good option for you, particularly if you have a lot of users coming to your site on their mobile device. YouTube. So this is where I briefly touch on the Google side of things. Again, I wanted to mostly focus on social media, but because videos are becoming so popular, I did want to throw in different YouTube video ad types as well. So the first is a skippable ad. Again, this is something we've probably all seen. If you've gone to YouTube, you've probably been served with a skippable ad. Basically, after the first couple seconds, YouTube presents you the option to skip it. But basically, if you have the video content for it, so if you have, if you've taken video on your smartphone, it doesn't have to be this, incredible production. It could just be a smartphone video. It's a great way to reach your audience, not just on their computers or their smartphones, but YouTube is also accessible via smart TVs. So if users are on YouTube with, on their actual smart TV, your ads could appear for them. Gaming consoles, that's another great way to reach your target audience. YouTube is also accessible via some of these gaming consoles as well. So if you see that a lot of your users are interested in, gaming and are on gaming consoles, that might be a good option for you. Because the ad is skippable, those first 5 seconds are really important to really hook the user's attention. So really think about what is going to connect with users and get them to actually listen to the entire ad. These types of ads are really great for introducing your brand. So if people are on YouTube and they come across skippable ads, it's a really great way just to introduce yourselves and introduce your brand to get them in, to get your brand into their minds. But it's also great for reach and engagement if you're trying to reach people, having them watch your video content or even come to your website and fill out some type of form. The other type of YouTube ad is a video discovery ad. This appears on YouTube's homepage within the search results page, but the user actually has to click on the ad in order to see it. So that means that they are already interested in it. So the when you should use a video discovery ad is, again, you have some engaging and interesting video content. These are really, really specific towards people who are trying to also earn more viewers on YouTube, you're trying to highlight your, not only your video content, but your channel. And again, you can reach people not on their phone, not just on their phones or their computers, but also their smart TVs or gaming consoles. What's really important for these is the thumbnail image is going to be what it's essentially going to make or break the interest. So if the thumbnail image doesn't make a lot of sense, if it's blurry, hard to see, if it's not eye-catching, people are just going to scroll right past it. And then the description is also going to be a way to just hook the user. So think of it as the elevator pitch. You want to try and incorporate text that's going to get people to click on the ad and engage with the ad as well. So these ads are really great for both brand awareness and reach and engagement. Again, if you're really trying to strengthen your following on YouTube or just get your brand name out there, this would be a good option for you. In YouTube, you can actually create the ads in Google AdWords, or you can just go into YouTube itself and create the ads from YouTube. So you don't necessarily need a Google AdWords account to run YouTube video ads. Pinterest. So another really popular social platform amongst people these days is Pinterest. Definitely thanks to the pandemic, more people are starting to come back to Pinterest. So the popularity is continuing to grow here. The most common type of Pinterest ad is the standard pin, which is where you can showcase either a product, your content, you can highlight a service in a very simple vertical image format. So one of the things that's really important about Pinterest to understand is that 83% of weekly users will make purchases based on what they see from brands on Pinterest. So users come to Pinterest to, they're really coming to Pinterest to complete they're not biased towards any brands. So that means they're not coming to the platform to try and engage with a particular brand. So it's a really great way to connect with your potential target audience. This is a really great ad if you want to showcase your products, you want to get exposure, expand your brand awareness. Pinterest, similarly to Instagram, aesthetically pleasing content is going to get you the clicks and engagement that you're looking for. So really leverage Canva, smartphones to create that type of content. And then make sure that when users click on the ad, you're sending them to the appropriate landing page. So if you're highlighting a specific product, don't send users to your homepage, send them to the specific product page where they can actually make a purchase. If you're a service, for Anvil, we've highlighted, our SEO services on Pinterest. We're not going to send users to the homepage or the paid media page of our website. We're going to send users to the SEO page. So the page that best connects with the ad and, what the ultimate goal is. So again, brand awareness, getting your name out there, getting people to click on the ad, coming to your site and converting, making purchases, or even just generally getting traffic to your site are all great, are best supported by standard pin ads from Pinterest. Carousel ads, we've seen carousel ads both on Facebook and Instagram. Again, it's a way to showcase multiple products, multiple features of one product, strengthen the product features, or even share customer stories. So users are, again, going to have to scroll through either multiple images or videos. In this case, you can use between 2 to 5, depending on what you're trying to advertise. But each card is going to be unique. So they're each going to have, their own title, description, and the link to where you're sending them. So theoretically, you could link up to 5 different web pages with one ad. So it's really great for lead generation, getting conversions. So you're sending users to a specific page to get them to complete some sort of action, or even just making purchases in general. And then Pinterest is also really great for shopping pins. You are basically turning your products into ads that are going to reach people when they're really trying to decide what to buy. So this is strictly for people who are trying to promote products and get product sales. So you can see with Nordic Track, they have a Black Friday pin. on the right-hand side, there's a Lowe's advertisement for a particular product where you can just click on the ad, go to the product page, and make the, complete the purchase. So it's a really quick and easy way to advertise your product and get people to click and then make the purchase on your website. Pinterest has an ad manager as well. Again, you don't need to have a huge following on Pinterest or even be that active on Pinterest in order to run ads. Basically, with Pinterest Ad Manager, you have 4 main objectives that you pick from when you are setting up your campaign. So you can build awareness, you can drive consideration, or get conversion. So the first step is to pick what your main campaign objective is. And then similarly to Facebook, you put in your budgets, you can set up the campaign schedule. Again, I highly recommend setting up a campaign schedule because that will make sure your ad budget gets spent in a very efficient way. And then you can also select your targeting details. So you can target users based on their location, their interests, the brands that they are showing interest in, things like that. So it's a really great way to fine tune who you're targeting and you're just making sure that your ad is going to get shown to the proper audience. So once you have all of these configured, again, does not have to be set in stone. Do not worry about being perfect the first time around. You're most likely going to be fine tuning this as the ad runs. So all of this can be adjusted, tweaked, and fine tuned as the ad is running at a later date. I did include some LinkedIn ad types because there was some interest noted during our last session. So this is a little bit more niche because LinkedIn is really for B2B brands. So if you are trying to engage with particular industries, particular people of particular, job titles, C-level executives, this is a really great option for you. LinkedIn ad types are, it could be products or services, and they have a few different ad types that you can choose from. But the first that I introduce here is just a text ad. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this is where you just have a very small thumbnail image. You have a blue headline and then a very short description. So if you are really trying to connect with C-level executives, people working in a particular industry, if your service or product is meant for a particular job title, LinkedIn would be your best bet. If you are trying to drive lead generation, so you're trying to get people to come to your site and fill out a form or complete some sort of action, this would also be a good option for you. And if you are just trying to do some, recruiting, if you're trying to attract job candidates, LinkedIn text ads would be a good option for you. With LinkedIn, you have very precise targeting options like industries, roles, companies, professional interests. So really utilize those specific targeting elements to make sure your ads are going to show to the right people. And another thing about LinkedIn is you have to be tactful because users aren't coming to LinkedIn to, really socialize in the way that they do with Facebook, Instagram. LinkedIn is for, business, not necessarily business professionals, but working professionals. So if your ad comes across as spammy, if you are, kind of getting in the way without connecting with users, LinkedIn users are going to be real quick to ignore your ads. So you really want to be tactful with how you set up your ads on LinkedIn. And again, brand awareness, lead generation and conversions, driving traffic, all of these are really great objectives that are supported by your LinkedIn ad types, or particularly your text ads. And then the next type of LinkedIn ad type, this is a more effective LinkedIn ad type for really strengthening your brand awareness. And again, driving engagement, lead generation, and traffic is a sponsored content type of ad, which is when your ad gets shown to the LinkedIn feed. So users are already scrolling through the LinkedIn feed. It's where most of the LinkedIn audience spends the most time. So you theoretically would probably want to serve an ad within the LinkedIn feed. So This can be set up with the campaign manager in LinkedIn, and basically you can showcase your products and services, really showcase and connect with who you're targeting and why you are serving this ad, what is going to be the benefit of a person, you know, engaging with your brand. You can promote an event and, you know, get more reservations or registrations for your ad or for your event. So this is a type of ad, kind of like the carousel ads or the story ads in Instagram. These aren't, you know, they're not meant to stick out and be an obvious ad. It's supposed to feel very native and seamless within the LinkedIn feed. So really just focus on getting your messaging and imagery out there. And then with this type of ad, you can do image, video. You can incorporate a couple of images or videos for a carousel. And again, you can highlight an event as well. We actually had a client.
Excuse me, Rachel.
Yeah.
We are like on the top of the hour to be able to have a breakout session. I know you still have a few slides left, but do you think we can do that after we come back?
I only have one more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is a great way to engage with users who are already going to be active in a particular spot on the platform. And then just to wrap things up, TikTok, again, is one of the most popular platforms at the moment. You can do full screen sound on video ads. TikTok, you have to be on your mobile device in order to engage with the platform. So again, if your users are coming from their mobile devices, this would be a good option for you. Canva has a TikTok template that you can use, so you don't have to actually create the ad yourself. You can actually use Canva to create your TikTok ad. And one of the things I wanted to mention is for the holiday season, TikTok is actually offering brands up to $2,000 in vouchers when they actually partner and create an ad within the marketplace. So this is taking place between November 15th and January 31st. You can click, access that link, fill out the information, and you could potentially earn or, you know, get up to $2,000 in advertising on TikTok. But one of the things as well that you want to consider, TikTok, you know, immediately it sounds like it's for teenagers, but as you can see, about 27% of users, and this was March of last year, so this could even be a bigger percentage, is, you know, between the ages of 25 to 34. So it is a little bit, you know, a little bit older of an audience accesses TikTok as well. So just something to consider as another option, because yeah, TikTok has been really successful in getting engagement from your users. And with that, we have the breakout session. Basically what we're going to do is just spark conversation to determine maybe which ad platform would be the best for your advertising, for whatever you're trying to sell, whether it be a product or service. And again, it's just more to, you know, set yourselves up for success. So don't worry about being perfect, and don't worry about, you know, picking the wrong thing or things like that. It's really about just making sure that you feel confident.
Rachel, can I ask a question before we jump into the breakout session really quick? Because it's like the elephant in the room. Literally, since Facebook is now Meta and all the crap that happened with all the branding stuff and all the bad stuff that went on and all the certain stuff that television did for decades before, you know, the internet came around. So literally, that's the objection. You know, it's like, so why would I go to a platform that's being manipulated by blah 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 blah? So how do you handle that? I mean, how does that affect everything that you just told us as far as
for sure.
advertising?
I mean, for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're all familiar with.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I think we need to do that later because we're not going to have any more time for the breakouts. I am sorry, but you guys asked me for more time on breakouts. We will have time to answer these questions. Let's jump into the breakouts, and then when we come back,
I'll keep it on my mind though.
Thank you. Nate, take us away. Thank you, Nate. So it looks like we have a few people that are not in yet.
I think they're going.
Okay.
Rachel, I didn't put you in a breakout room. Would you like to be in one, or are you? You're okay. You're on mute now. You've been talking so much, so I figured you might like a break from.
Oh,
I'm gonna pause the recording.
Yep.
And before I forget. All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a little bit of time to talk about what platforms are best for you. I'm gonna go straight to it because I need to talk to you a little bit more about graduation. So please register for graduation. The link is right here. Invite your friends, your family, people that you want to celebrate with. This is not just for us. This is the one part of the program that is open to all. So here's the link. I will also bring that. I'll share that on the email that I do after each session. And now to get you stoked about your pitches, let's talk about prices. We're gonna do 4 prices. Number 4 is gonna get a product photography package. Essentially, that's going to have a tripod to stabilize your phone and a light box to take good pictures. Then we have 3rd place. You're gonna get 10 hours of digital marketing consultation, and you will choose the topic along with Rachel from News Marketing, who is one of our in-kind sponsors. Then on the 2nd place, we're gonna have a video package, and this is gonna serve for you to improve your video making situation. And with that, craft your brand message session with Gabriel from Bino Creative. We think it's important for you when you are creating content to be aligned, and so we thought that these 2 together will be a great thing. And then for the first prize is going to get $750 in cash and 10 hours of consultation with Robert from Ruby Porter. And again, like you guys, Robert is the CEO of Ruby Porter, and so you will get that consultation with him, and you guys will figure out what are the topics that you want to talk about. This survey. So we need you guys to take probably 5 minutes to answer the survey, and the link is going to be there. A few reasons for that. One, this informs us about what you need for future programs, how we did on this program, but also it will set the mood and the topics to pair you with digital marketing professionals as part of the Raindrops program, which is what you get as an additional benefit for being in this program. So your answers are actually required for graduation. So please, it doesn't take too much, and the questions are very simple. So if you guys can do that before we graduate, that will be amazing. Now, next week, we have Nikki Dunsire. She's faculty at U of O, and she's the one that's going to be talking to us about augmented reality for marketing. And I know a lot of you are like, what? Don't worry, it's going to be answered then. It's something quite new. Her mentor hours are going to be right after class. So I don't know if you noticed that yesterday I changed the time on that specific session. And it's because we're just going to extend it until 11:30 so that any questions that you have or anything that you want to ask her, we can do it then. We will also have Rachel Colin speak about email marketing, and her mentor hour is going to be on Thursday after that class at 1 in the afternoon. With that, we're done. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and now we can answer all of the questions that you guys have. So let me pull up the document here for all the questions that I saw. Okay, so somebody sells CBD products along with other herbal products, but they're afraid that if they try to sell or advertise anything on Instagram or Facebook, even if it has nothing to do with like CBD and whatnot, that they will be shut down. Do you have any knowledge about CBD ads and sales on social media?
We are actually working with a brand that came to us because of that exact same problem. I recommend checking out Lord Jones. They figured out how to advertise without getting, flagged by Facebook, Instagram, Google. basically, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say that using hemp is okay. CBD is not okay. Age range is really important. So making sure you're not trying to advertise towards, kids, things like that. But for kind of a starting point, here, I'll put it in the chat real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me grab their actual URL. Yeah, so they actually have, if you actually Google Lord Jones, they have 2 separate websites. One is fully optimized for CBD. The other, it looks exactly the same as, the CBD website, but then they have another website that does not mention CBD at all. It's more, they really cater to health, wellness. They really focus on that message. So they will send their users from ads to that website. So there's a way you can play with messaging to, still advertise, but, not get flagged by Facebook, Google, things like that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Does Google Analytics only work with your own website? How does the analytics work with tracking social media accounts?
So Google Analytics is for all of the properties that you essentially own. So you can track your website. That's really what it's for, is tracking where your users are coming from, how they're engaging with your site. So that is why it's helpful for, understanding where they're coming from in terms of social platforms. You can't necessarily get, behavior on how they act on their social platforms, but you can, it's mostly for tracking your website, but you can understand, which social platforms they came from. So it is helpful in that aspect, if that's helpful.
Okay. I just want to read the comment from Jennifer. She's the one that writes our grants. And she says, please take the survey, because that demographic data is super important information that we need for those grant applications. So your answers are going to help us keep funding these programs. So that's that. Muy bien. We're going to keep going. What's the definition of engagement? When you talked about people engaging and all that, what does that mean?
For sure, that's actually a really good question. So engagement just means that they clicked on your ad. So if you have an image ad, they clicked on the ad, and then went to whatever page you're sending them to. If it's a video, they watch the video. If it's a carousel, engagement is just scrolling through the carousel. It's just really acting, completing that action with your ad. And the reason that it's important is because on social media, engagement is a really important component to your visibility. So social media platforms want to make sure that they're serving ads that are, that make sense. And one of the ways that they tell that is, are people actually clicking on the ad? Are they, scrolling through the images? So that's why it is important. But it's basically just if they're interacting with the ad.
Is it the same as the call to action?
So the call to action is actually the text itself on like the button or, the messaging. So call to action is your things like shop now, register now, learn more. Call to action is what you want them to do. Engagement is that actual behavior, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Is it true that Instagram loves 7-second videos?
I'm not sure, but 7 seconds sounds pretty good on Instagram. That's why, when I was talking about the fact that Facebook allows for up to 10 minutes, I don't know who in their right mind would want to watch a 10-minute commercial, but 7 seconds is a pretty good time frame for an ad. So I would say that sounds good.
All right. Question. We're right on 10:30. Mm-hmm. Can we answer a few more questions, or do we all log out?
I'm good to answer questions if anybody wants.
All right. So there's more. What size audience do you recommend we narrow down when we're making ads?
So it's kind of hard to give you a specific number just because it depends on the location you're targeting. I really recommend not doing kind of a nationwide United States targeting. I recommend trying to narrow down who you're serving your ads to based on the location, just because that's a really great way to make sure you're just connecting with the right people. It gives you a better chance to do so. You don't have to get super nitty gritty, but maybe instead of United States, you do Oregon, Washington, something like that. So that's perfectly fine. And then, yeah, just making sure it's not too broad to where you're trying to reach too many people, because that's just not setting yourself up for success in terms of advertising.
Awesome. How do you target groups on Facebook to help define your audience?
Yeah, so you can actually do that within the audience targeting section. You can actually input specific Facebook groups. So yeah, that's a really great way to target people who are already, active within Facebook groups. So that's a good idea.
Sweet. Can you do linking ads with a free account, or do you have to have a premium account?
You just have to have a business account, I believe, or like a business page to publish LinkedIn ads. So you don't necessarily have to pay in order to be able to run ads. You just have to, have that business page set up.
Okay. Can you find out about the individuals who engage with your Facebook ad from Facebook Analytics, or is it only generic information?
So with Facebook Analytics, they're not going to give you specifics in terms of like names, addresses, things like that, but you will get some specific information in terms of their location, their interests. You will get that information. And that's where the pixel is really helpful too, because some of that information will then get sent to Google Analytics as well. So that way you can actually, provide that data to Google Analytics to kind of process it. But yeah, it's not super specific to where you're going to know exactly who the person is, but you will get some specific information to give you a little bit of guidance.
Awesome. And now, can you answer Marty questions about Meta and Facebook?
Yeah, so I was actually telling Ani, we've come across a lot of people who are very skeptical of Facebook, and we joke the metaverse, so to speak. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it, because if you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to go about it with 100%. You're going to be skeptical. You're going to kind of hold back because you're a little unsure of how things are going to go. So you definitely don't have to work with Facebook or Instagram. And what I was saying was the Lush, I don't know if you call them cosmetics, but the Lush company, they actually pulled all of their social media advertising, and he just straight up said, we're going to lose $10 million, but I don't care. It's just not part of, my, it's not what I'm trying to accomplish in terms of our overall brand story. So if it's not important to you, if you are really against it, don't do it. I would say like Twitter, TikTok, explore other options, but yeah, if you are not comfortable with Facebook, and rightfully so, a lot of people aren't, I would say to just, look elsewhere. But the reason I do bring up Facebook is just because it is, people are still using it a lot. So it is, I do have to recommend it just because, there is some good reach there, but it is up to your, opinions and discretion.
I was muted because I was having a puppy moment. Can you use Google Analytics without having a website? I think that this is being answered, but.
You can use Google Analytics for an app that you have. Basically, if you have a way to insert the code, you can track it. So if you don't have your own website, but you have, if you have access to another website, or you're using a second website, if there's a way to connect that website or that property with Google Analytics, you can definitely use it. It doesn't have to be your own website that you own. It could be, if you're using a different website or even an app, you can connect it with Google Analytics.
Can it be connected to an Etsy account?
I don't think so, because your Etsy page would still be on Etsy itself. I would imagine, because Etsy is really good about their users, I would say there's probably a way for you to kind of do something similar with a Facebook pixel, where you can kind of get more information and data based on how users are engaging with Etsy. So I'm not positive about that. I don't think so, but there probably is a way to get a little bit more data from Etsy. But yeah, I'm just not sure.
All right. Well, those are all the questions.
Awesome.
Remember that mentor hours with Rachel are this Friday. Is it at noon? Hold on, I don't remember. Let me double check here. I think it is. Yes, it is at noon.
Awesome.
So bring your questions. If you cannot attend the live session, send your questions beforehand. And thank you everybody for taking the time to be here today. We're almost done with the program. And you have been doing great. We've been receiving your homeworks. We can't wait to look at your pitch videos. So I will be sending an email in a few hours, and I will include the video that I did. I'm kind of nervous now because you're all gonna see it. Anyways, I'm gonna stop the recording. So if anybody wants to ask a question,